So some of us are out here in quarantine, right? Whether we're home, around the world, who knows where. I've got this nice white wall behind me to show my great set, my awesome lighting. Sometimes it's like that. So we're in this time as leaders of having to deal with a lot. Many of us are expecting our profit to go down. Some people are thinking about ways to save money. Some people are in a position where even layoffs might be necessary. It's a tough time, and can we be real? It's an emotional time, and it's a time to take out that skill set that for some of us might be getting a little bit rusty. Sometimes it's called emotional intelligence. Sometimes it's called empathy. Sometimes it's just called having feelings, being human. So I was listening to Esther Perel, who's just incredible. She is a person with superpowers when it comes to understanding people and communicating and feeling feelings and being a person. It's something we need to do with ourselves and something we need to do with our teams. And so she brought up on the Tim Ferriss podcast a list of questions, a very short one, to ask the people in your life. I would say especially your team members. There are just a couple of them, and it's a way to go a little bit deeper. We're in a time where we're all feeling more deeply. And you probably, and a lot of your teammates are in a time where they may be, whether they know it or not, stepping back and thinking about if they're really in the right place, if they're really doing the most important things. And it might be a good time for you to be involved in that conversation, partly because it's good for them to know that you care, and partly because it's a good time for you to care. So here are some questions to ask to get on a deeper level. Use this on your teammates. Use this with the other people in your life, with your partners, whether they're your business partners, your relationship partners. Try them on yourself. This is a skill. This is not about the code, the financials, the logistics. This is about the human side of leadership. So here are the questions that Esther Perel proposes we use. The first one is, have you been surprised by who's reached out to you recently? And this time, a lot of people are finding that they're receiving messages, phone calls, emails from people they may not have heard of or really thought about in the last 2, 5, 10 more years. Maybe you've gotten some too. And who have you been thinking about reaching out to? Is there a person or some people who you've been meaning to contact, and do you think you will? Number 2, how are the members of your family? Let's ask that question. Let's check in on what our team is thinking about in terms of their family, what they're concerned with, maybe what they're excited about. Number 3, what's a thought of the day for you? Maybe there's a quote that you heard. Maybe there's something you listened to. Maybe there's something you read. Maybe something's just kind of going around in your mind. Maybe today you found yourself noticing something that you don't usually notice. Today, my friend told me that she noticed squirrels in the park and they delighted her. And it's not something she usually pays attention to, but today she did. And finally, how are you? But really, how are you? Or another way to ask that is, because often the answer is great or good or it's fine, which none of that's true right now for anybody, right? We're all in this experience of, I had a plan for this month. I had a plan for this time. And now that we're sharing in a crisis together, whether that's the virus that we're all trying to escape right now, or any kind of feeling of crisis, right? I had a plan here and it's not there. My normalcy, the things I normally do, are gone. And so how are you really? And if people are answering good, great, fine, and you are willing to go a little deeper, the next question is, how are you sleeping? Are you having trouble falling asleep? Maybe you're waking up before you want to. What's the thought that's with you when you're not sleeping? Some of this is sad, some of this is happy, some of this is fun. It's not really about trying to get somebody else into a certain emotional state. It's not about making someone cry or pull emotions out of them. It's really not about that. It's about taking a moment with people who are in your life, especially your teammates, and working to understand them and helping them to feel understood. And let me ask you, have you asked yourself any of these questions? When will you take a moment to pause? How are you? Really? I hope that you'll consider exploring this area of leadership that's outside of the tech, outside of the financials, outside of the logistics. It's this thing that's so important and so neglected because you know what? It's hard and weird, squishy. But it's a vital skill for a growth-oriented leader. That's everything for now. These are a few questions to ask to work on your empathy, your emotional intelligence, but also to help your team move through a time of crisis. Thank you.
Now here's a riddle for you. What does Tesla's founder-president and Groupon's founding CEO have in common? They were both removed from the companies they started. Stay with me for another, minute, and understand this: more than 3 out of 4 founders are ousted from their role before year 5. That's before IPO, before acquisition, before wild adoption. And as a result, you leave potentially millions of dollars on the table for your successor to pick up. But that won't be you, right? Imagine how good it will feel to carry out your vision for your org as a leader for years to come. Are you a founder of a software startup with a live product and a team? If so, can you see yourself learning to grow alongside your company? I've been working with founders and Fortune 100 companies for a decade, and I have a gift for you. It's free. It's a webinar, and it explains why CEOs and other founders are essentially removed from your company and what you need to do to stay. Move now. Click the link in the description to transform from a founder CEO to a growth CEO, to scale your org, keep your money, and have a worldwide impact. The link to the free webinar is in the description, and I'll see you on the other side. I'm so glad you joined us today. If this video was helpful, give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so that tech and startup videos continue to show up in your feed. I'll see you in the other videos.